Thank you for joining us on Saturday today. Happy to have these games showcased for everybody. If you'd like to get in on the action, visit us on our subreddit. Details on screen. House Party 5v5. I'm your host, Anson, and joining me is my good friend, Dave.
What's going on?
And, of course, can't forget about Deck.
Hey, guys.
Now, we've got both of these sides matched up against each other here in what looks like could be quite a one-sided affair. But I want to get you guys' opinions on it first.
Alright, well, my opinion, of course, is that speaking of Midnight, they lose all their bands, so of course it's going to be a interesting game. And on top of that, he apparently this is like people he just got together out of nowhere. Like these are all like brand new players, so it's definitely going to be really hard against a team where almost all the players have played together a lot. Almost like I know for a fact because I think they're all in the same city, so they played together like in LANs and everything. So they're definitely a little bit more knowledgeable with playing together. So I definitely agree. I think it's going to be one-sided.
Losing
but
all
at
your
the same
bands
time,
hurts. It really does.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the reason we have that in check, is just so we can make sure people don't, play with the roster and then ban it out and pick. And on top of that, one thing I do like about it is that when you lose your bans, you actually are open for a lot of pocket picks, and like you basically leave up 3 good champions. So I mean,
and so why would you pick
that's a big
Nocturne
thing
first out of all of
well,
those?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, Turn I know for a fact is definitely a little bit pretty strong in the new meta with
The Sated Devourer.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that. I know it's Devour, but I forgot the first word. So say Devour. So definitely a good pick. It's just gonna be very interesting to see how it's gonna play out for with the rest of their picks. Because I mean, granted, yeah, you pick away one thing, but you give away 2 picks where only 3 things are banned, which were Andy, Evelyn, Rek'Sai. So that's 2 junglers and a support. And then on top of that, you leave open Gragas, you leave open Victor, you leave open Kalista, but Grand Kalista got a few nerfs, so I don't really think she's as strong as before. But you leave up all these really big picks, and they're going to go with the Kalista Orianna, it seems.
I love Sala on his... Oh, no.
Oh, that's so much better.
No.
That's exactly...
Man.
No. That's what I
That's expected.
Sala on Alistar? Like, perfect. Right there. I'll go with it.
Like, Sala plays a bunch of like really good either tanks or what people call the like solo queue easy mode supports in Nami and Janna. In that, if you're good at either one of them, then you can climb very well because they're kind of the sort of support that says, oh, you fell down here, let me fix your boo boo and put you back in, or oh, they're initiating on you, let me fix that. And Alistar does the same thing, but he's also a tank.
I mean that's the big thing. And originally I said Kalista's not that strong, but what I meant to say is the fact that Kalista is very with the recent nerfs is definitely kind of a different play style. Kind of difficult to really.
We'll
play it out
probably be
correctly.
seeing a lot more of maxes on her Q, simply because the changes to her E made it so that an E max might not work as well. So we'll be seeing a lot more of the as a lot of the like streamers call it, the ballista build, where you go into maxing Q and then you get a bloodthirster and then you like just build a whole bunch of AD. So whenever you throw that Q, it just pierces the entire wave.
Wow, that's a clever name for it, Ballista.
It's amazing. I love it.
It fits in every single possible way.
And the worst part is that, like, if you're on the front line, you're scared of getting hit by that, because it hurts. And if she doesn't care about the rend damage, she can just immediately rend to slow you down so that your jungler can catch up. But for the other picks, we see a Shen pick, and I don't really know anything about their top lane replacement. I assume that that's Swatson because I do have a little bit on some of the other players. But I guess he seems to play a decent amount of jungle, or not jungle, a decent amount of Shen. I guess they're going for kind of a divey comp because they've got like Nocturne, they've got Shen, they've got Orianna. I guess it's going to come down to what's their support AD carry combo going to be. They didn't have the Sivir taken away from them because they wanted to first pick that, so I guess they could still go for the Sivir. But yeah, okay, I think the Corki might be a little bit better with what they're doing.
Yeah,
And I want to take a note of that Shen could be a support Shen.
It could be a support Shen. That is right.
that's probably what we're looking at right here is actually a support Shen.
Yeah, Cafe Nowhere does actually seem to have played a little bit of it.
And it is. So I love support Shen. Of course, I'm a big Gravity fanboy, so when I see Bunny Fufu play support Shen, I'm like, yes. No, it's perfect. I love it. So that's exactly what I like to see.
The Vayne pick is a little weird.
Right.
I guess they're going for more of a mid to late game focused comp with the way that they have everything set up, which would kind of make sense. With the Aurelia, you want to be able to delay it until you get your Triforce. You've got Orianna is pretty. There's never a state in the game where she's like actually bad.
Right.
Like early game, she has a little bit of mana trouble, but it doesn't matter because her auto attack harass is really good, and she has like really good defensive abilities. And then when you get to mid game, she can like do a whole bunch of damage, and when you get to late game, she has high utility. So she's kind of got like this grab bag of I'm pretty much kind of good at everything, but I'm not great at any one thing.
Unless you get 5-man Orianna ult. And then
unless you get a 5-man Orianna ult. Can't all have perfect Orianna ults.
Right? No, unfortunately we cannot. I do want to keep an eye. I mean the Vayne pick. I mean this is Unupa. Everyone knows Unupa from like Season 1. Everyone knows him from T-Law, and everyone knows his Vayne is his like #1 champion.
That's his go-to. That's what he got
Yeah.
famous for in House Party from the very beginning. So I'm happy to see Opa
I'm
back
kind
on
of
that
disappointed.
champion.
I'm disappointed. I wanted to see somebody whip out the Smite lane Vayne to get the Sated Devourer.
I was just about to talk about that. It's one of my favorite things. Is
Because it's so dumb.
It works. I don't know how, but it works.
It is balanced because you're giving up a defensive summoner for a potentially game-winning offensive summoner.
Exactly.
But it lets you proc Silver Bolts every 2 attacks. If you get... By the time you max your tumble, you're at a 2-second tumble, so you're tumble auto. And you're just spamming your true Silver Bolts.
Right,
But we're not going to see it. Maybe we'll see it in another game in the future of this day, but hopefully we will.
I want to see it.
I want to see it top lane. I don't know if any of our top laners will do it, but
Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't see it happening in top lane.
We do need to be afraid though. The Alistar Callista combo is there, and they get a nice little bonus from having a Lulu top. You throw him in, and then he's gigantic.
It's a lot of wombo potential. It really is. Alistar gets
There's
thrown
a
into
whole
the
lot of
middle
AoE
the
damage
fight.
on that team.
It's just over. In fact, when you talk about all the things that Azir can do as well, you throw Gragas on top of that. Gragas' ultimate, it combined with everything else that's going on, it gives Luckerdogs so many options when it comes to team fighting, and all of them look really scary for Spooky Midnight.
Well, I think Luckerdogs definitely has the overall advantage in terms of just like, a straight head-to-head team fight because they've got all this AoE damage, they've got all this disorientation of the Gragas ult, the Azir ult, the knockups from Alistar, the knockups from Lulu. But on Spooky Midnight, you got this fantastic pick potential because if you decide, we're going to try and catch out Vayne or we're going to try and catch out Irelia, you could have a Nocturne ulting in, you can have a Shen ulting in, and if you jump on Vayne or Orianna, you can have an Aurelia teleporting in. So suddenly, 3 people are right on top of you. So you need to be prepared to always fight in a situation where you're fighting 4 members at least.
Yeah, that's definitely the interesting perspective coming out from Team Spooky Midnight. But all I gotta say is that I love Luckerdogs composition. I'm a huge fan of this all engaged without even having to need this Sivir. You already have a Lulu, you have a Azir, you have the Gragas. I mean, throwing the Kalista Alistar, and it's just like, I mean, that's almost just easy in the bot lane against a Vayne Den. Like, perfect. I love it.
This is what happens when you lose your bans.
Yeah, right? You give up all these champions.
Wow. It's going to be a rough game for Spooky Midnight. If they can pull through this as a team, then I think that speaks volumes for their chances in the later stages of this tournament. I don't think anybody is expecting them to come out with a win today. If they pull off an upset, that will be huge for them. Well, guys, we're going to see what the outcome is here in a few seconds. We're headed to our loading screen. Stick around. Still plenty more action to come.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to House Party 5v5 Premier League Week 3, Game 2, Spooky Midnight. Of course, playing the Nocturne, which just plays into it so well, versus the Luckerdogs. I always want to call them the Luckerducks. I always have trouble. But anyways, and of course with me, Deck, as always, here to listen to me bad puns about both team names.
Of course.
All right. So
Hey guys. All right. So, seeing not really any sort of super aggressive plays, just a little bit of vision, little bit of hey, you shouldn't come on our side, or we'll come in your side, and you don't want that to happen.
Right? The one ward of the mid lane coming up from Spooky Midnight.
It's important.
It's important. You know what team is going from which side. And the Alistar and Kalista are just kind of sitting in the pit. I'm not sure why.
Gotta get that Scar ward.
Oh, did they get it off?
They got the ward.
They did. I didn't even know it was still possible to get that ward off.
It is all about knowing the camera angle and knowing where you need to put it. The camera angle makes it really easy.
I usually just don't care.
That's fair. The important thing about the ward is whether or not it gives you the vision that you need.
Right? And Spooky Ghost spooking out Spooky Midnight. Yeah. 10 gold? That is 10 gold. Going over
that does mean
the Spookster himself.
That does mean that currently Spooky Midnight has a gold lead of 10 gold.
Oh. I don't know if Luckerdogs can come back from that just yet. Quick note, Panam is taking the top side of the map, starting up there with Lulu getting a small leash. Then started taunts. I just noticed that kind of threw me off. And Alistar and Kalista are going to take the Gromp level 1, and both of them are actually going to share experience, which I understand sharing experience with both of them, especially when you're in Kalista lane, but I'm still a fan of the Alistar taking the entire thing and starting at level 2 in the lane, which is super strong when you think about it.
I think it's good, but I think in a situation like this, they want to both have a slight level lead because they don't want the Shen taunt to be so powerful.
Right, and they're very at level 2.
Yeah, because if Alistar had gotten the level 2, And Shen started with his taunt. All it takes is, oh, well, you go in. If you don't immediately do the headbutt combo, I'm just going to taunt you and you're not going to get to do it.
Exactly, and I mean that was a smart decision. But personally, I'm just a fan of Alistar being level 2 because as a support main, when you're level 2, and against in a lane that's level 1, it's always fun to be able to just go all in.
Oh, yeah. If you have the advantage of use it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna say this now, but this bot lane is just gonna be a boring lane for the first like 5 minutes. I believe Zark flashing over the barrel, trying to get on top of Pano. Pano does not even have his body slam, so Zark knows he can sit on top of him. The red buff right on top of it, but Shapanga is here, and Zark cannot get out of this. He needs to be super careful, and he might be able to, but that is first blood going over Shapanga. Somatic trying to get in, and double buffs going over to the mid lane. Somatic needs to get out of this quickly because
I think that flash was just a little bit preemptive. He didn't even need to flash.
Right? He was a little too far. Better Call Saul walking up, but taking a lot of damage. Somatic still getting chased by Shapanga. They need to be very careful here. I mean, the red buff is just enough to continue slowing him and chase him all the way through the jungle. And on top of that, I want to take a quick note that that's a huge mini wave in the mid lane, and Shapanga is going to be able to walk in and get all of that with ease. That's the thing. Like he's Azir.
Well,
so
he just got double buffs.
Yeah.
So he's got all the mana he wants. He can put down his soldiers. He doesn't even have to put down his soldiers. He's probably just going to freeze it right there because, honestly, what's Semantic going to do?
Right? And I mean, just kind of, I don't really know what much more to say about that, but just a more of a misplay coming out from Zark, flashing over the barrel just to stop it instead of spell shielding it, and then spell shielding just a little bit too late. He had the right idea of trying to catch out the Gragas. Gragas already used his body slam, and probably would have been able to duel him super easily, but as soon as he got near that mid lane, he needed to back off sooner because Shapanga was already reacting, which was a huge part of that fight right there.
And we're seeing the bot lane already. They did get the early start on the Grom, and that puts them a good bit ahead already. They're a level ahead. They've got the Ballista.
There it is. And Zark is already getting pinged out in the spots on the map. I mean, they knew as soon as they saw him, they literally just backed off completely. They really do not want to fight this Shen Nocturne Vayne, even this early when Vayne is not even level 6 yet, and I mean that's a huge factor coming in. And Zark coming in for the gank in the mid lane. It looks like they're just all gonna jump on the Shabanga. There's no way out, but no, I was wrong. He just soldiers his way out of there with almost ease, and Gragas actually walking down as well.
Where there's a Shurima, there's a way.
Right? I just love the fact that he's just like, all right, well, you guys are all gonna meet. Like, it was almost a perfect gank because it was just a trifecta of all three of them just walking into this triangle right into the middle, and he was like, well, you guys left this wall open. I'm gonna go right over this wall, and there it was, able to get out of that. Cafe getting the top right on the twisted Vayne. Zark right in the middle as well. The flash coming out, but that is just enough to get him out of there. And Zark going a little deep. Taking a lot of damage, actually might get rend, and he able to, as well as the ignite coming out from Sala. Sala taking just as much damage as well. He needs to be very careful here. And Cafe nowhere.
Jeez. Like, just the sheer amount of damage of suddenly having the Pierce thrown, and then there's an ignite, and he throws one auto attack at a minion so that he can get the rend refresh whenever he pulls. It was beautiful. It was unfortunate that he couldn't wait another like half a second for an ignite tick to go off so that he would get the kill, but he did the right thing.
Yeah, and this is going to be really risky here because Shabanga's right in the bot lane. Better Call Saul taking a lot of damage, but Unupa does not matter because Cafe Nowhere is going to get Shurimo'd right into the middle of the team. Unupa taking a lot of damage as well. They need to be very careful because Gragas is here as well. Cafe Nowhere trying to back. Gragas going in, trying to stop the back, able to get gets the barrel right on top of his head. And Cafe Nowhere sitting underneath the tower. Nothing much more he can do. And yeah, that is Vayne. Just
Delicious
a second
knives.
too soon. Yeah.
And just a whole bunch of really good plays like around mid and just in the bot lane side in general from Luckerdogs. Not really seeing a whole bunch top side. I think it's just Swatson is being able to hold his own. He's kind of pushing Weminus back. He is almost double Weminus' CS right now.
Yeah, and I was going to take a note of that. The fact
But
that
he did get like one extra wave. So Weminus will be probably about a wave and a half, 2 waves behind in terms of CS and gold.
Right, and Better Call Saul going in for the gank on mid lane on right onto Somatic, gets the combo off, and Shenel, as well as the TP coming out from Irelia, might be able to save him here. They're able to lock up Better Call Saul, but nope, they're going to walk away. TP coming from Weminus as well, and both teams kind of just disperse at the same time, all show up at in the mid lane. And
it's like I said, if you try and gank somebody, you have to expect that there's probably gonna be 1 or 2 people coming. Luckily, Zark isn't level 6 yet. That probably would have been a lost fight for Luckerdogs.
Right, and Better Call Saul playing the Alistar just like I wanted him to play it, where he literally just roams around the map, gets the kills, gets the setups almost perfectly, and I mean, I love watching Alistar being played. Very interesting. One of the more interesting champions to watch, and very exciting to watch him play, especially more competitive play like this.
So it looks like Zark is actually doing the right thing. He realizes, okay, I'm already behind. I can't afford to go for the Devour. I just will not be able to stack it. So, seeing yet more damage from the Ballista, just throwing out that nice, painful pierce. Gonna have to be really careful because at a certain point, he'll be able to harass you behind the wave with it, like so, because it just goes through 3 minions instantly.
Right? Yeah, I was about to talk about that. Swatson going right onto the Weminus. Weminus getting the polymorph off, walks away from the lane, and Swatson's really showing the strength of Irelia in the mid lane, especially against Lulu, which is one of the better matchups for Irelia. Just for the fact she could just jump onto people.
Irelia's got a lot of inbuilt tenacity, has a decent amount of sustain, and also has a huge amount of burst trade potentials. Just diving into a minion so that you can get the reset, throwing down your stun, and getting a few auto attacks off, and then just dashing back out. And there's no real response to it. Now, one thing about the Callista, though, because I do want to talk about it, because since we are seeing the Ballista is actually even more relevant than ever, some people, especially people that haven't actually played very many Callista games, I'm getting caught up saying the name, will not necessarily know is if you have Ren stacks on something, if you've already thrown some spears into something, as you may have just seen happen to Yun Oppa, if you hit it with your Pierce, it will bring all the spears from the initial target to the next target.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about the bus is the fact that you could just continue doing that over and over again. And Penom really showing his strength in the enemy jungle, and Swatson once again going right on top of Weminus and actually able to solo kill him, even with the Shen coming in as well. Somatic getting ganked in the mid lane by both Penom and Shapanga. Zark coming in for the gank right on top of Shapanga, but Shapanga's able to flash over the wall and get away from the spookster himself. And actually Orianna is able to get out of that due to the ultimate coming out from Zark.
That was a very good counter gank by Zark. I think he was hoping that he would get Shpanga, but he did get Shpanga's flash. And he managed to make sure that Semantic didn't die because they had to divert their attention to get away from Zark. And he was at full health. He's got his warrior enchant, so he can do a whole bunch of damage if you let him.
Right? Yeah, that's definitely one of the more interesting ways they handle that. But Better Call Saul and both Penom, both really, I mean, like they've kind of been ganking a lot, and Callista's just kind of in the bot lane by himself most of the time, so it's really interesting. Swatson actually taking a lot of damage from Weminus, and Weminus really trying to, slow him down, try to do as much damage as he can due to the fact that Swatson has 0 mana, and at least be able to push him out of lane, which is the important thing here.
And I would like to say, Better Call Saul actually roaming around is very beneficial to Twisted Damage because Twisted Damage got to kill that tower by himself. That means that he gets the gold that you would normally get for killing the tower for the whole team, and then he also gets all of the local gold for himself that's normally shared by everybody that's near it. So he gets 275 gold from a tower kill. That means he gets to come back. He finished. He had a Death Sword, and he just built a Bloodthirster. He had just enough gold to complete a Bloodthirster.
Which is definitely the more important thing here is the fact that he's able to just sit in a lane. Alistar's able to roam, get the levels he needs. Oh, I mean, let me go down the list here. Alistar roam, gets the levels he needs, gets the kills, gets the assists around the map as well, and able to do a lot of pressure. While on top of that, Kalista gets a free lane. Literally can stay in there and entire herself by herself. Without anyone really being able to contest her, gets a whole lane of experience to herself, and on top of that, able to get tower and free farm. Like, that's exactly what you want on a team.
Also, I just want to point out, Swatson has actually gotten like 3 or 4 pink ward kills because he keeps roaming into that top tri brush and then roaming into that back brush over there. So he just keeps getting all these free pink wards.
Right? He just he's like the friendly cow that just clears the pastures for you. And Lemonos can, Swat's going to go right back on Lemonos again. Alistar here as well. And Smatic taking a lot of damage from Shapanga, the Shurima wall right in the middle. Cafe Nowhere getting knocked up. Shapanga is able to get the kill. Swatson's in the top lane getting ganked as well, taking a lot of damage. Need to be very careful here because Lemonos might be able to do something, but the Channel coming in, able to probably do something here, but he actually decides to walk away, and the ground gets explosive cast enough to knock Swats away, but able to flash over that wall. There it is.
He did finally have to flash. He held onto his flash for that entire fight.
Right?
Just did not want to use it.
He saved it for a pretty good time, because one, he didn't die at all, and that was exactly what he needed to do. But Zark needs to be very careful here. He is getting chased by 3 people. Unipo right in the middle, taking a lot of damage. Ults to save himself, but might not be enough. Twisted Damage doing enough damage here. And Zark right on top of them. But there it is. That's just a revolt proc right onto Twisted Damage. And Better Call Saul is here to show up. Gets Ignite into Unipa. Let's see if he's able to get the kill. Lemonos flashing over the wall. And there it is. That's a kill going over both of Lemonos and Sala, trading 2 kills for 1.
Oh, unfortunate that Lemonos flashed over the wall and then missed. Like, it was almost a good Glitter Lance, but it just went directly beside Yonopa, so...
Yeah, it's
okay, though.
Probably misplay there. Unipa kind of walking into the middle as well was kind of like a, one, they didn't really have any wards over there. 2, Zark was just kind of getting caught out in the top side of the map, so it was really kind of just, just kind of a bad fight for Leaky Midnight to try to pick off. But nonetheless, they're able to get out of there with ease.
Well, one thing that we did get to see, though, is because of the Kalista change, you did see that having only 2 points in the red, it doesn't do as much damage as it did before, and it does even less damage because he's not maxing it. So it didn't actually kill Vayne, despite there being a bunch of spears inside Vayne, and he thought it would.
Swat's able to actually catch out Skapanga. Cafe Nowhere able to get the taunt off, though. But that is not enough. Solid right in the middle. Fight flash and knocks up 3 of them, as well as the Lulu ult. And the Orianna ult, they're actually able to lock up 2 of them as well. Supposed to cast the Orianna right to the middle of the fight. Swanson and Smack both need to be very careful here. That's a lot of damage coming on Smatic and the rest of his team.
Ooh, they need to watch out.
Solid just...
Ballista's coming, and she's got your names. You're all
able
low
to
health.
Tank the tower. Yeah, it looks like Spooky Midnight just gonna want to give this up. Unipa actually right in the middle of the fight. Ooh, I hit him right. Able to buy something right into the fight and able to pick off that kill. Sala, once again, getting a 3-man knockup. The rest of his team, not really there to follow up, but they're kind of there. Sitting to the
One
side.
does not simply chase Alistar's teammates.
Right? Alistar's like, alright, well, if you're going to chase us, let me knock you away, knock you up, and yeah, you can't really do anything after that.
Oh, you're chasing? I'm just gonna pulverize.
Right?
Have fun,
you want to get in a little fight? No, I'm gonna knock all of you guys up in the air and can't do anything about it. Watson TPing into the top lane. This is really risky for the fact that there's 3 of them, but no, never mind. That's a Shen teleport as well. Getting twisted damage right underneath the tower and actually able to pick off the kill, and Swanson might be able to continue chasing here. Solid needs to be very careful. There's the slow coming out and a taunt coming out from Shen as well. And that is a double kill going over to this Irelia.
Yeah, Twisted Damage is really strong right now and has very strong poke, but not the same kind of like dueling potential that we kind of used to expect from a Callista. And he's got to keep that in mind. He's got to be ready to get away. And he was way too close to the tower. They knew the Shen ult was coming, so it should have just been, oh, need to start backing up. Alistar isn't tanking the tower right now, so I need to not be doing this because the Swatson just at lower health than me. So Swatson got to get a stun off, get a whole bunch of damage on Twisted Damage, and then suddenly Shen's here, and you get even more damage. Like, fully max Shadow Dash is a 1.5 second taunt, and that's a long time to just be standing still as an AD carry.
Right, and on top of that, I like the fact that Swatson was able to put him underneath the tower to take all the... I'm pretty sure he took about, I want to say like 400 to 500 damage just from the tower alone. And that was a big factor there, is that he's able to force him underneath the tower, get him locked up underneath the tower while taking tower damage, and he literally was not a factor in that little skirmish at all. And Swatson coming into bot lane, locking up Twisted Damage as much as he can. Unupa coming in with the Blade of the Rune King Steel, and yeah, that's a fast Irelia, and Twisted Damage really needs to be careful from here on out. He is 0-3 and 4, and really starting to make a little bit poor decisions around the map.
I mean, he's still ahead on gold by quite a bit. It's just he's not using the advantage that he has. His advantage is my poke trades are stronger. If I hit you with a pierce, if I get maybe one auto attack in, then I rend, I win. I've won the fight.
And I'm very excited to see how this dragon fight comes out. The dragon actually goes over to Team Speaking Midnight, and yeah.
No contest.
Yeah, no, 0 contest coming out from Luckerdogs. They really want to pick their correct fights. And I think this fight right here, if they play correctly, they can come out ahead. The only thing is they really need to peel Swatson off of any of the carries.
I think they accepted that they just lost Twisted Damage, and Twisted Damage is most of their gold. And Twisted Damage is the AD carry, so they already don't want to be fighting. So they're willing to give up that dragon, even though they have decent control of it, because they just don't have the damage. It's 5 versus 4, and we don't have our strongest player.
Right? And Swatson really taking a lot of... I mean, just the fact that he's on the map somewhere where Luckerdogs are able to chase him out, and his presence alone is enough pressure on the map right now, which is saying a lot, because he's playing out really. He has a Hex Trigger, he has a Triforce, and he's just pushing Webinos right across the map for, I mean, basically free.
Yeah, and seeing an Irelia that has already got the mid-game power spike and is working towards getting the next one, we'll see whether or not he's going to go for more like a sustain route or if he's going to go for more like a burst route. So if he goes more for burst, I think that's actually something that they don't want. I think they want...
Yep, and here's a fight coming out right onto Twisted Damage from Stark and Swatson right in the middle. They're able to get the Shockwave right on Sala, but the rest of the team is here. They're trying to do as much damage as they can. Zark take a lot of poke out from Shapanga, and I mean, Twisted Damage, every single time just continues getting caught over and over and over again. He really needs to be careful of this Irelia, and as well as this Nocturne. And Swatson doing a lot of damage to Panom and able to poke out with those blades. Cappy Nowhere trying to get the taunt off, not able to do so. Salt actually has to flash away, but Swatson able to get right in the middle of a fight. That's a lot of damage coming out from Team Luckerdog. They need to be careful, because even though they're doing a lot of damage, Swatson might be able to just come right back into the fight. And Sons of Panom, Zark is here as well. Shapanga's right around the corner. And they really try to pick off this one man. And able to get the shutdown right over to Shapanga. Smatic going right into the middle of the fight, flashing and burying himself, and there it is. that fight is over. They got what they wanted. They wanted to kill the Irelia, and they were able to kill Irelia.
Ooh. Twisted Damage is back. All these low
He is
health
back
targets.
in the fight. Even Upa is here now too, as well, which is he hasn't really been in any fights, and they're ballista damage.
All it takes is building up some stacks on 2 targets and then piercing them into somebody and rending. And it's a whole bunch of damage. And the best part about it, as opposed to standard Callista, where you would just build up a bunch of stacks on somebody and then rend to kill them, is it's a lot harder to predict. Like, you have to look at where all of their stacks are, because if they get at you in a line and they just pierce through and you get 5, 6, maybe 7 spears in you, suddenly that rend didn't get built up on you, but it still hurts.
Right? And honestly, I'm really wondering what's going to be next for Team Luckerdogs. They have the lead. It's only 100 gold lead, but they have 2 tower. Honestly, this game's dead.
This game is really even.
Well, once I think about it, they had the lead. Well, let me say it like that. They had the lead, but they lost it. It's not there anymore. Gold across the board is heavily in favor of Irelia. Mid lane
Like,
gold
Luckerdogs
is,
had this really good early lead.
yeah, and
but
the mid lane gold is on Azir's.
But then I don't know. With the AP itemization changes, having the early death cap, I don't know if the early death cap is actually something he needed, because he could have just as easily built a Zonya's, or even something as simple as a, well, I guess Rylai's might not necessarily be good for him, but maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't tried it recently.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, speaking of that, I'm just gonna take that mid tower for free. SWAT's just wanting to just split push the side wave. And
Well, he's making the right choice. He's got
Yeah.
teleport. He's their strongest player, so although normally you want him in the fight, he can go split push. They have to spend at least 2 people to stop him.
probably almost up to 3 people if you think about it. I mean,
Oh yeah, easily. I mean,
They have
if
to
they
peel
send
him
2
off
squishy
some
targets,
way.
then they'll die.
yeah, and you just throw the ball right on top of Irelia, and Irelia just dives right into the back line, can't kill him, or can't kill her, and that's how the fight's gonna go. And SWAT's gonna take a lot of damage. We're not taking any damage. I mean, take a lot of poke, but it doesn't really matter because he's playing Irelia. He has the items he needs. He already has literally the 2 items he needs, which is Triforce and Merc Treads.
Well,
Basically,
of the people that they want to be hurting, doing the minor poke on Aurelia is actually a bad thing, because that means he can just dive in and immediately have his stun.
right? Exactly. And,
Like, they want to be hitting... Oh, and here's the dive.
and Shabaga taking a lot of damage coming out from the team. Unupa actually trying to get in the back line, as well as the flash taunt coming out from Cafe Nowhere. That's a pick-off kill for going to all 5 members of Spooky Midnight. And
it's kind of like we had said earlier in Champ Select, was they have this very good fight for picking people off. They could just decide, oh, well, I want this person. This person is now dead. And what are you going to do about it?
right, and that's a second going over to Team Spooky at Midnight. And again, the goal difference just flips sides. It took a little bit longer compared to our last game, but it's still a big factor. The fact that just the goal just completely went into favor of Spooky Midnight. And I'm a little questioning this right here. They got spotted out, but it's a little early. It's 26 minutes, and they really don't have the tank.
They do have the Vayne, though.
Tankiness. Yeah, they do have the Vayne.
They have the Vayne
But that's
and the
about
Shen. They could tank it, eventually, and Azir was nowhere near it. But they did not want to risk it being spotted out. They didn't want to be in the middle of doing it, finish it, and then be really low on health to suddenly get pushed into the pit by Azir, or knocked into the pit by Gragas, or whatever.
Right.
So
it's really
they just pull off.
Yeah. So smart decision. They had the right idea, but as soon as they were spotted out, it was just like, yeah, no. Nonetheless, Spooky Midnight back in the fight, coming from a rough start. So, definitely. I'm just really wondering what Twisted Damage is going to do, because the gold difference between him and Upa is, it's in the favor of him, but he only has 2 items. He's sitting on about 1.3k gold, so he's not even really buying. He just backed and has a bot. Well, looks like he's thinking. He's like, I don't know what to build. Sounds like a classic ADC. What do I build? And it goes for the build
I-
water.
I don't think the Ghost Water, not the Ghost Water, I don't think the Bilgewater Cutlass is the decision here. I think he needs a QSS. He keeps getting killed out by these taunts, by these stuns, by pretty much everyone on their team has some form of CC that they can use.
Yeah, Paydom getting slightly picked off in the jungle. They're really pressuring the side of the map. Zark and Somatic are the only ones here. Upa able to follow up around the corner. Sala, I mean, they really want to find the side of the map. Really is in the top side against Wemenos, and Wemenos is behind, so he really needs to be really careful here. And exactly like I said, that gets a slight slow off, takes a lot of damage, and Shen is actually TPing to the top side of the map, but Cafe Noir actually gets stopped by Sala and Panon, and kind of by himself in the side of the map, and Irelia is chasing down Lulu in the top side of the map as well. The explosive cast coming up from Panem does not throw Upa into the fight. Upa able to pop his ultimate. Zark coming right into the backline, right out the twisted damage throwing out this solid, right into the middle to lock them all up, and Twisted able to get that double kill with Ren, securing those kills. Swats it right on top of the other side of the map. Solid trying to peel as much as he can. He's taking so much damage. That's a double kill going over to Swats, and Wemenos is here as well. Triple kill going over to Swats, and Wemenos taking all the damage, and the shutdown going over to Gragas. And Unipa and Somatic are really going up for the chase, but they decide to go right back in, and the barrier able to save off the Orianna. Wemenos taking just enough damage, but throws out the glitter glance and gets a return kill, and the last surviving member of the team, of both teams, is Unupa, and he's deciding, do I steal the blue buff, or do I sweat push like a real Vayne?
Well, but he won't be able to actually get anything before everybody else respawns, so probably better to get the blue buff, probably better to deprive him of some jungle camps. He can get the blue buff, he can maybe get the Gromp, and then just leave. It's the safest play. Now, I will say that fight looked like it was very heavily for Spooky Midnight at first anyway, but Semantic used Shockwave in the middle of nothing. Like, the ball wasn't moving, the ball wasn't on anybody, it just didn't hit anyone. And then, at the end of that fight, Semantic came back to try and take the kill from Yun Oppa for some reason. Like, he only died for his own greed. He wasn't needed to kill the Lulu. He just decided, I'm gonna go in because I need the gold or something. Right, so, I don't know.
It was a very greedy play coming out from
It was a very greedy play. Overall, though, good play by Spooky Midnight.
Right, and I think Luckerdogs finally got to a point where they're like, all right, well, you know what? I think we know how to win this fight, and they're taking control of the map. They're pulling the young Cloud9, where you just kind of walk into mid lane. You're like, I'm behind, but we're gonna take control of the map, and we're gonna take this tower, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna tier 2 tier 2 middle tower for free,
and then they'll probably rotate to bot.
Yeah, and they're just gonna, take back control of the map. They have the Zero Tower to stop that. Aurelia's top lane sweat pushing. And they really kind of need to take control of that as well, or take.
But they
need
have no
to take note of it. But they have no teleport. Lulu teleported down. So did Aurelia, so she really can't teleport to fight either. And they're gonna trade towers, which was pretty smart from them. But
no, I don't think that was smart. I think.
Smart for Spooky Midnight.
Yeah, it was smart for Spooky Midnight. I think that Luckerdogs should have decided, okay, Aurelia is top. Don't have teleport. We'll send one person to defend the inhibitor turret, because we know Aurelia doesn't have teleport, and we will go and take this huge bot lane that we have cultivated and go get bot tower, because the only thing that they can do is dive us. And if they dive us, they lose.
Right?
They need Aurelia.
Yeah, and it looks like they're gonna chase him out. The Fate's Call right onto Swatson might just be enough. Swamno's taking a lot of damage. Swatson's like, I'm just gonna take you guys around for a slight chase across the map. Twisted Advance doing the young kiting, trying to get in line, but actually, he might be able to get out. Chapon is actually showing up here, so they're gonna get a little slow. The Shen ult right on top of him is able to save him, and surprisingly enough, Swat's able to get out of that fight for free. And Spooky Midnight able to pick up the third dragon of the game, while the rest of the team from Luckerdogs just chase down that Aurelia, and that Aurelia gets away.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, that was a huge, around the world, they they were afraid of using too many resources, and I think that kind of bit them in the butt. They should have used Grogisol. They should have used a flash. They should have used something to get him, but instead they get nothing, and they lose the dragon. So, I don't know. They probably could have like said, okay, well Aurelia's running away and we can't catch her. We can maybe head her off, but they still have the Shen TP. They still have all this other stuff. Everybody's missing. We have general vision of stuff. So, I don't know. I think they probably should have decided to go for the tower, but it's too late now. We are seeing them go for the Baron though, and this is, I guess it's a good decision. Aurelia is not here. She is without her teleport, and they're being able to rip this down pretty fast, although it looks like they just want to get a pick. Goodbye Yun Ofa, he gets knocked back, instantly Ren killed. Zark on the side, it's kind of low. Cafe Nowhere looking to maybe get a taunt in, but I don't think this is where he wants to be.
Ooh,
nice taunt disengage.
The Righteous Glory gets right off the Somatic Feather Crest Hollow right into the middle of the fight. Zark is here as well. They're trying to do as much as they can. 3-man Shockwave knocks up 3 of the tanks. Swatson's right in the back line. The 4-man taunt coming up from Cafe Nowhere is just enough to save him from the fight. The 3-man knockup might be able to do enough, but it's only Pan on Lemonos. They really don't have the right amount of damage. And Zark able to pick up a kill for himself. And Cafe Nowhere able to chase out. Might be able to chase out the rest of them. Actually gets a flash taunt right onto 2 of them. And Swatson going right in the little fight. Cafe Nowhere ulting Swatson to, do as much as he can. And that is a 1 fight for
now this. I like this Baron. They respond by taking the Baron. Swatson's teleport is up, so he can go back. He can home guards, teleport to bot lane, and probably kill something if he wanted. Although it maybe not with the respawn timers. I kind of thought that they'd be killing this a little faster, but never mind. Maybe we'll see a little bit of pushing out, but they did have a very nice wave bot. They could have potentially gotten the tower as well. But I think they just wanted to make sure that they secured the Baron instead. And that fight looked really early. It looked like Luckerdogs had the advantage. They had 5 people. They collapsed in. They got an early kill. But Swatson got to just come up on the side and do what he wanted. That's exactly where we want the Aurelia to be.
Right, and Aurelia go right on top of Twist Advantage. It gets a solo kill right in the middle of the mid lane. And Panom, I want to point out you did feel that body slam right across that wall. We saw it. Right?
It's okay, Panwan. I understand. Jumping over corners is really hard.
Oh, Somatic actually getting caught on explosive grabs right into the tower, trying to stop him, but it doesn't really matter. It's Swatson and Zark are kind of here by themselves. Swatson might be able to 1v4, but pretty hard. Cafe Nowhere actually is able to show up right in the middle of the fight. Shapanga trying to get some poke off as we can. There it is.
It's just a whole lot of instant burst on Semantic.
Right?
He just got blown up.
Yeah, he gets caught out just slightly, and then, explosive cast right underneath the tower. I mean, well played coming out from Panom.
That was with a shield, so kind of unfortunate, but it happens.
Oh, Zark diving right in the back line as well as Swatson. The wall is able to save him as much as they can. The tower doing as much damage. Unipa ulting right into the fight and able to pick off and do as much damage as he can. Cafe Nowhere is actually going to fall down to the tower. Salo throwing back to Unupa. Panom is a huge fat guy, and body slams right into 2 of them. Might be able to do something here. The Lulu around top, and Swatson taking a lot of damage. Swatson able to actually get a return kill. Upa fall down. That's a double kill going over to Wemenos. And holy crap!
That was a really super questionable dive. Like, why? You have the tower. They've backed away. Why are we diving like a tower and a half deep? Okay. I guess they saw a good opportunity to pick off Twisted Damage and then maybe get Spanga and get everybody else. But like, this is a team that you don't want to tower dive them. They have 2 really strong, like, control-oriented tanks. They have 2 really strong, control-oriented utility mages. And then they have a whole bunch of damage being danced around by a Callista. Why would you dive that?
I think the one thing to keep in note is that Emperor's Divide, being able to throw both Zark and Swatson right into the inhib tower, was really well done by Shapanga, and that was kind of one of the more determining parts of that fight was the fact that he was able just to throw them to the side and like, all right, look, we're gonna fight this under our tower, but under our terms. And that's exactly how they were able to turn that fight around. Was being able to peel off Swanson and you know.
And we have seen, although Pokemon got a sight stone and has been helping out with the Vision much as possible, they still haven't been able to win a whole bunch of fights with Vision. They just are getting picked off because, again, Spooky Midnight has this team comp that can just, oh, you're trying to kill some of our wards, or oh, you're trying to get deep wards in our jungle. Well, guess what? We can all appear on top of you whenever we want. And now we're just going to get a dragon. What are you going to do?
And it looks like we're having a fight right in top of the dragon pit. Able to lock up a bunch of them, but they might be able to save them. And Sala able to get the Fates Call right to 3 of them, and the Emperor Survive is able to lock them up as much as they can. And Twisted Damage able to do as much damage. That's a triple kill going for the Zeri. He might be able to continue chasing Upa. Upa doing a lot of damage. Dragon heads off the fight. That's a double kill going over to Twisted Damage. That's a 1 fight. No deaths coming out from Luckerdogs. And I mean, oh wow, that was very hectic. Out of nowhere, and very well done.
Yeah, I am kind of surprised because I was expecting them to dive after, say, the Azir, dive after, say, the Kalista, but instead they dove after Sala. Like, yeah, okay, Sala's really low, but he's an Alistar. And even if you get him low, he's an Alistar that is bound by fate to Kalista, so he just gets yanked out and saved instantly, and there's nothing that they can do about it. And then when they collapse on to do something, now Sala just gets a free knockup, gets another knockup, into Azir wall, into a whole bunch of Azir AoE damage.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a big factor for that fight, is that Azir finally hit the point he has. I mean, you gotta be careful when Azir has both the Death Cap and Hourglass, a Void Staff, and on top of the Morello Melicon, like, that's a lot of damage for Nazir, and he was able to get a perfect Emperor Survive right after the engage coming out from the Fates Call, and it's just, they, you know, that was exactly what they needed for that fight.
Seeing a little bit of Vision moving towards Baron, it looks like they, Luckerdogs are coming as well, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Panna popping the Righteous Glory, trying to catch out Somatic. We need to be very careful here. The taunt from Cafe Nowhere might be able to do a little bit here. Zark ulting to try to stop as much as he can, as well as the TP around the middle. Twisted Damage right in the back lane. Might be able to stop him. One notice right in the middle. That's a 3-man taunt coming out from Cafe Nowhere, but he might be caught. Twisted Damage again. Lulu ulted and able to do as much as he can. Upa taking a lot of damage. You need to be very careful. He tumbles right into the enemy team. Vein spotting 5.8. And Zark able to hit off, come around the back end, but, you know, they decide to walk away from this. It's damage taken, you know, pops the heal to do as much as he can. Fate's Call coming out from Sala. See if he's able to get it. Gets a knockup right into Somatic, and that is another fight going over to Luckerdogs, just playing almost perfectly.
This could be a Nexus turret. They only have 2 people to defend.
Man, they almost stopped the Swanson back, and that would have been very important here, because Swanson wouldn't be able to do anything after this. Zark need to be very careful. Swanson going in the back line. I mean, Zark as well trying to do something to stop the minions, but this doesn't look like they can do anything. Twisted Damage and Sala able just to kite them off as much as they can. Stun coming out. Nope, shield. Oh, Shenno is going to try and stop them a little bit, but doesn't matter. Nexus Tower might be falling. One more auto, there it is. That is it. As 1 Nexus turret. Can they go for 2? But no, they actually decide to walk away from it.
That's a good plan. The rest of the team is spawning.
Zark goes right in the middle of it. Lulu ults herself to try and knock them up. Swanson going right in the back line. Twisted Damage taking a lot of damage. You be very careful. That's a 3-man knockup coming from Sala, and that's a lot of damage. And Unupa able to pick up a double kill. The stun going to Panom. This might be a double kill due to the top, actually. Azir able to pick up the kill on the Shen. Swanson taking a lot of damage. He might be able to get off this kill. Let's see if he's able to do it. And no, that's a double kill going over to Azir. And oh, pan up from right to the middle of the fight. Unopa picks up the kill. That's a double kill for this person, double kill for this person, and
There's a whole bunch of double kill skirmishes going on
Right?
here.
And that's an ace. Going over
And look
to
at-
Spooky Midnight.
Look at top and bot. Those waves didn't get pushed out. There's been so much focus from Luckerdogs on mid lane that they just lost a turret. They're about to lose another turret, and they're going to lose probably an inhibitor and maybe another one. They still have another, 20, 30 seconds until actual valuable people spawn.
They do need to be very careful here because you see they're not going to go for anything more. They lost an inhib, but alright, we're going to get inhib in response, and that is it. It's very interesting. But Zark, they're going to steal the blue buff. They're going to get the they're looking. Well, originally they were going to look for the next dragon, but that's not up for another minute 30 seconds. So they're going to instead get the scuttle crab back, and they got what they wanted. And Luckerdogs. I don't know, man. This is very hard. This is gonna be very hard for Luckerdogs. They need to be very careful.
Well, unfortunately, they have this team comp that really relies on having very strong team fights and stuff, and that would be great if not for the fact that if they are not always clumped together, then suddenly Spooky Midnight can just all appear on top of you. And I've said that multiple times, but it's too spooky. They pop on top of you suddenly and can kill you. And sure, okay, Twisted Damage has no QSS yet. The only form of it he has is Sala has a Crucible, but I almost think he should build a QSS for himself because, yeah, he's going to be near Sala all the time, but what happens if he has to ult himself? He can't QSS himself right now because he's relying on Sala to do it for him.
Yeah, and looks like both teams are going to try sub for Baron. I really is in the bot side where they do have an inhib, so I'm a little questioning this one. Actually, kind of understand this one push now. They're going to trade the Baron for probably maybe a Nexus Tower turret, because I'm not sure if Lulu is able to 1v2, especially since Shen's in the middle of that fight now. Zark is here as well in the Baron pit. Twisted Damage able to get the kill. Swanson doing a lot of damage to this tower. They actually popped the Ohm Wrecker for the dive, and Swemina's taking a lot of damage, trying to stop as much as he can. Chipanga in the Baron pit, actually going to get caught out right with the Shockwave, and Swanson, Cafe Nowhere going for the X-Peke. They might be able to end this right here, even with the rest of the team showing up. Swanson able to pick off Weminos, taking a lot of damage. Cafe Nowhere right on top of the Nexus turrets. Zark at the top lane trying to do as much as he can, but there's a Baron in him. Minions, he goes in, but that's a double kill going over to Twisted Damage and able to actually secure the kill and save the Nexus. And rest is Spooky Midnight.
This is just going to be Spooky Midnight running right past directly into the Nexus. They have no reason not to. The only people left are Twisted Damage and Solon, and as long as they don't stand next to each other, they can easily just tank it up and kill this Nexus. There's nothing
there it is.
they
Zark
can
just
do.
walking right in, and Solid trying to stop as much as he can, but he takes so much damage. Actually able to get the shutdown onto Upa, and Zark trying to go in, but it does not matter because Twisted Damage gets like the 8th double kill for himself in the game. I think he's got so many double kills, no triple kills, no nothing. And he did get
semantic.
once.
Again, I don't want to rail on any one person, but Semantic, come on. Your other two friends were in there, why weren't you there too? I know that you may have questioned the idea of let's do this, maybe Twisted Damage can kill all of us, but all they needed was like 3 auto attacks on the Nexus. That's all they needed, and they couldn't get to it because it was only 2v2.
Yeah, it was really questionable. I was really hoping that he was able to walk in with them, but I think once he saw Upa die, he was like, I'm just gonna kind of, I don't know. I just feel like they just kind of like, okay, well, I'll walk away. I'll let my teammates try to end it, but it didn't really matter. I mean, as soon as I saw him walk in, I was like, Sala and Twisted Damage, they do so much peel for themselves, and Twisted Damage does so much damage at this point of the game that I don't think there was really any way they would have been able to get anything off of that fight, or off that, try to go in there. I think that was way too risky. I think they should just went for the safe play, go for the 5-man walk-in instead of the 3-man versus 4 people, especially when it's Alistar.
See, Aurelia is still kind of hanging out on bot. Looks like he wants again to try for this X-Peke. I'm gonna steal the Nexus behind you. I'm not sure if that's gonna work again. Like they know it's coming this time.
Yeah,
but
they even have They even have the Callista Ghost trying to scout out anything. And Twisted Damage actually going right onto the minion. Swatson is walking up, but Fate's Call, the bait against the wall, might actually be able to pick off Swatson, but the Shen is actually going to come in, but nope. Shen was not able to come in in time, and Twisted Damage was able to secure a kill. That was really smart.
That was really good for Luckerdogs. That was really bad for Spooky Midnight. I don't know why. Aurelia, why? Why are you trying to solo them when your team is nowhere? There's no map pressure anywhere else on the map.
Yeah. I literally want to point out the fact that Alistar is still on the other side of the wall, and they baited Twisted Damage, baited by walking closer to the wall. They're like, yeah, you can kill me. And then he like kept on walking closer to Fate's Call and was able to lock up Irelia with the Alistar combo and just overall the Alistar damage. So this looks like this might be it for Spooky Midnight. Luckerdogs just walking into the middle of the base, and Lemnos backing. I'm a little confused on that. They're gonna at least get this inhib, and I mean, they actually just had to walk away from here.
At this point, I don't think Watson can 1v1 Twisted Damage. Twisted Damage is full build. He's got G8. He's got all the damage you could possibly want. He's got Fury Enchant. He has more gold than you. Right? Why are you trying to fight him?
Yeah, it's a little questionable why he's trying to fight. I mean, he's 15, 7, 12. Like, that's a Fed eye, really. Like, I'm not going to question that. But you're almost full build. You have a Hex Drinker left. That's it. That doesn't mean you can 1v5.
Yeah, well, like, okay. So
1v1.
So the mindset of the Aurelia. Yeah, you know, I'm 15, 7, and 12. But I'm trying to fight... okay, I have more kills than the Callista I'm trying to fight. But I have almost 100 CS less than the Callista I'm trying to fight.
And Callista actually has 2k more gold than Irelia. So even then, like, yeah, I'm 15-7. That doesn't matter when the other person has more gold than you, and you don't realize it. You might be Irelia, you know, you might be a carry killer, but it's Callista's one of those carries. It's hard to kill at this point. So like I really want to question the action.
We have two late game 80 carries. We are at the late game. It's now about... Okay, Azir does a lot of damage. Orianna does a lot of damage. But it's all on the 80 carries. It's all about the mobility and the positioning that they have. And they're both super mobile 80 carries.
Yeah, and that's a big factor here. And I mean, it looks like Spooky Midnight are going to go for the Fnatic Bush gank, but on their side and not the other side with the Unupa bait. So I'm wondering how this is going to work out. Lulu is in base, actually TPing in, trying to get that last item. With the but Zark is actually going to ult, get right on top of Twisted Damage. Swatson right in the middle of the fight as well. The Lulu ult's just enough to save the explosive cast. Is actually able to throw away. That's a 4-man shockwave coming out from Somatic, but that might not be enough. The Emperor's Divide able to lock up at least 1 or 2 people, and that's a 3-man knockout coming up from Better Call Saul. They're able to get a kill, and Somatic trying to get away from this fight, and that is it. Sark able to try to run away, but it does not matter. They're just going to get this tower. They're going to push this wave. The appeal from this team is just phenomenal. As soon as they saw this arc going, they're like, all right, save Twisted Damage, and they Lulu all. They did everything they can. And I mean, it did not matter, and that's going to be it. This is game. This is game for Spooky Midnight, coming in with a completely different roster, going against Luckerdogs. They had to start, but it just did not matter, because Luckerdogs were able to come out on top and secure themselves a win.